It is the Flow Friday Night Sports Show, and let's talk Eyre Peninsula netball now with the Queen of EP netball. She's back again. Jo Franklin, how are you?
I'm doing really well, Jason. You?
Going well, thanks, buddy. We've got lots to get through. The end of the minor round.
Do.
Yeah, the minor round is done now. We've got great Flinders into finals this weekend, and before we talk about their finals matchups, we need to go back and have a look at last weekend's round of matches. So why don't we start with the A-grade clash between Tumby Bay and Eyre United, which saw Tumby Bay sign, seal and deliver their finals ticket. They beat the Saints 40-27.
Yeah, they did. And certainly they stamped a bit of authority in that game and just showed the rest of the teams that they are ready for finals. They look again. Eyre United, they battle hard. They stay with anybody that they played. They stay with them for a few minutes of each quarter, but then they just don't have the sustainability really to last a full game. But certainly Tumby, their two goalers have found a bit of mojo. I think they've settled down a bit of a combination now as well in defence and through the centre court. They've been able to the last couple of weeks run through with the same eight. So they're pretty confident going into finals after being able to put out that performance on Saturday. So unfortunately for Eyre United, that's the end of the season for them. But very young, lots to build on. I'm sure that most of those girls are going to be hanging around, so it'll give them something to build on for next year.
Indeed. It was also the end of the season for Lock on the basis of that result, but their own result didn't go their way either. They probably needed to win this 72-34 rather than lose it, but, they were up against the all-powerful Cougars side who've won the minor premiership.
Yeah, they have, and I actually saw some of this game, Jason. Cougars certainly did stamp their authority. And look, Lock would have been just a little bit disappointed going out on that score line because they had been more competitive in most of their games throughout the year, but they just struggled to get it together, struggled to get any goals on the board. Young Holly Gale, unfortunately, went down with a bit of a knee injury, which brought Shez Bascom onto the court with Molly Burns, and they just took their goalies apart. They did really, really well. And, if you've got Ella Wedd and Hannah Grain at the other end who just do not miss, then you're really pushing it uphill most of the day. And centre court, Cougars, I have said this week in and week out, it sounds like a broken record, but their mid-court is just so strong and so quick, and their delivery into their goalies is just amazing. It was really very nice to watch. Not if you were a Lock person, but just as somebody, a neutral person, just going to have a watch. It was pretty good to watch.
Yeah. So well done to those guys. Now, we should also say well done here to Elliston Districts, who secured the second spot on the ladder, the double chance in their first season in Great Flinders netball. They had a 9-goal win, I believe, over Ramblers in the end to lock that in. Yeah,
they did. I think it was 11 goals in the end. Jace,
my maths is terrible. Yep.
I think it was, they certainly Ramblers stayed with them for the first half, which was really good for Keels. She was at one end as goal shooter, and Abby Lee Burrows was at the other end as goalkeeper, and everything in between was well under 8. It was one 18-year-old and then well under 18, a couple of 15-year-olds. So for them to stick with the side that Elliston put out, that was a really, really good effort. And then in the end, to only go down by 11, which, sounds a lot, but it's only 5 turnovers, really. So I would have thought that, I do know that Kate was probably looking for a little bit of a stronger effort from the Elliston Districts girls, but certainly they are putting things together, and they did stamp their authority as far as ending up second, and they will look forward to taking on Cougars in that second semi, while Ramblers will look forward to the first semi-final this week.
Yes, they will. And let's have a look at how the A-grade ladder ended, and then we'll just rattle through the matches that are due to be played first semi-final day in Cummins. First of all, it was Cougars on top of the ladder, undefeated undefeated, 12 wins for the year. Elliston Districts, 9 wins and 3 losses for the season from their 13 matches played. They claim second spot on the ladder. Ramblers, 8 wins, 4 losses. Tumby Bay, 7 wins, 5 losses. Lock miss out, 5 wins, 7 losses. United Yolanda had just the 1 win for the year, and the Saints couldn't crack it for 1 in the end. So that's how our A-grade ladder looks at the end of that. And that means we've got Ramblers and Tumby Bay in the first semi-final this week, which we'll come back to in a minute, Joe.
Yeah, we do have that happening, and I just don't have in front of me the rundown of the rest of the games for the first semi-final. Sorry, Jay.
No, that's all right. I'll walk you through them. I've got them here.
Well, yeah, good job.
Yep.
Good job.
I'm well organised today. So E-grade, the little E-graders, it'll be Ramblers taking on Lock in the E-grade. So good luck to those girls.
I actually did know that because some of the kids at school were talking about that. That's what that game will be. So that'll be really interesting, Jace, because they've actually been quite even throughout the year. So it'll be a good game.
The D graders have been pretty even as well, between third and fourth on the ladder. That's United Yolanda and Cougars. So they'll face off there. 7 and 4 for the year. United Yolanda 6 and 5 for Cummins Kipini. So that'll be interesting as well.
Yeah, it will be, and they've been talking about that at school as well, because obviously both lots go to the Cummins School, and some talent will be out on that court. In fact, probably a couple of, some association players in both sides, so that should be another cracker. It
will be. Now, I'm having a bit of trouble finding the B reserves here, but I've got it now. I reckon B Resi's final will be between Tumby Bay and Eyre United. So they both finished the year with 6 wins. Eyre United had 6 and 6, and it was Tumby Bay who had 6 and 5 with an extra draw in there. So only 1 premiership point separating those two at the end of the minor round.
Yep, and it's great that Eyre United have been able to get team through to the finals. That's it's good for them to have something to work to continue to work with during the finals. So again, as you said, they've been even all year, so it should be a very interesting game.
Yep, and I'll just correct myself there. That's just the B grade. There is no B Resis this year. A Resis is what I was looking at here. Elliston Districts finished third. They'll take on Ramblers, and there was 4 wins separating these two sides at the end of the minor round. So Ramblers will have some work to do to beat Elliston Districts, who only just missed out on a double chance.
Yeah, they will. Look, Elliston Districts certainly have some depth, and I do know that Ramblers are going to be needing to use a player, because the A grade are going to need a player. So I do know that they've played around a little bit there, but in the end, I think they were able to leave the reserve side the way it is. So they will be running in with the side that they have played all year. So I just think that Elliston Districts will be too strong there, I would think.
Yeah. And the A-grade clash, Ramblers and Tumby Bay, the old rivalry renewed. These two sides know each other pretty well. They've played in enough finals against each other over the years. Only 1 win separating them at the end of the minor round. There won't be much between these two.
No, there won't. Although, unfortunately for Ramblers, they will be without Kira Simons in defence. However, I do believe that Maddie Creddy is going to be able to come home to fill that spot for them. So that will be interesting, because they haven't played a lot with Maddie, and the 2 Tumby goalies in Alex Stratford and Sarah Laurie have played together all season. They've played together as juniors, so they know each other's game really, really well. So Abby Lee and Maddie are really going to have to work hard to make sure that they keep those 2 goalies under control, because if they start shooting, then Ramblers going to be in a fair bit of trouble. But having said that, at the other end, we've got Keely Mason, who an Eyre Peninsula player. She loves playing finals and she hates losing. So she will certainly be giving it her absolute all. She's played in the Eastern Ranges premierships in the last couple that they've played in, and how many finals against Kimber. So she's got the experience, But then, so has Stacey Curtis, who will be in that goal circle fighting as a defender, fighting pretty hard to make sure that she's getting plenty of turnover ball. So I think the fact that the centre court for Ramblers is quite young, and they have been known to just get a little bit rattled. Tumby have got probably a little bit more experience through the centre. I think that's probably where the game will be won or lost, who can keep control the best. And look, I'd love to be able to say for Kills that Ramblers would get away with this game, but I just think losing Kira's could be a little bit unsettling for them, and it might just be the little look in that Tumby need to get a win.
Yep, the Brumbies for me as well. I reckon Tumby get the job done there. All right, let's have a look at Eastern Eyre. Finals first week, last weekend, elimination finals, and I'll just go through some of the scores in the other grades before we get to the A grade. In the E grade, it was Ports having a win over Eastern Rangers, 49-31. Pretty happy with that, Joe.
Yeah, they were. And, it is just really good for Ports, to be able to get a win and still keep sides in the finals, especially juniors, because that's going to be the future of their club.
It will be. They did the same in the D grade. They had a 2-goal win over Kimber Districts. I reckon you've had a pretty good day when you've beaten Eastern Rangers and Kimber Districts in your juniors. They beat them 20-18.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that they are really pleased about that. I'm pretty excited about it. And again, like I said, that's the future of their club, and that's what they're building on. And look, well done to them, because it was a tight game. It was a tight game, and for those young ones to get over Kimber is a really big hurdle.
News got better for Ports. In the C3 grade, they beat the Central Eyre 43-22. So off to the preliminary final they go.
Yeah, and the interesting part about that was Central Eyre United were the ones who wanted to bring in that extra grade because of all the numbers that they had, and Ports weren't really sure whether they would or wouldn't be able to fill it, and they have, and they've come out with a win.
There you go. That's where the good news ended for Ports. If we move to the C2 grade, it was Central Eyre United 44 over Ports 28, so they're through to the prelim.
Yeah, and Central Eyre United, they really are quite strong through the Bs, the Cs and C2s. So that was pretty much expected, and they'll be looking forward to the prelim final.
They will. In the C grade elimination final, it was Kimber Districts taking on Cow, and Kimber Districts were too good. They won 50-26.
Yeah, obviously Cow quite disappointed with that, but that's the way that it had gone all year, so pretty much expected there. And Kimber, again, will be looking forward to the prelim final in that grade, because they have been pretty close with both of the top sides.
Yep. Off to the B grade we go. Central Eyre United 55 over Cow 35. So a 20-goal win there for the Central Eyre United crew, and I don't think they're ready for their season to end at the prelim final either.
No, not in that grade. They, Cow very, very disappointed with that effort, as you would be. But that was sort of like the score line throughout the season. Cow scraped into the floor really, and unfortunately they just could not get the ball through the goal circle. And as we all know, if that doesn't happen, then you're really looking down the barrel. But Central Eyre United very strong, and certainly are looking forward to the rest of the final series.
Yep. And then in the first semi-final for the A grade, a ding-dong battle between the new kids on the block, Central Eyre United against Cow, who have improved all season long, and they nearly got there, your Cow crew, but it was Central Eyre United by just 4 goals in the end, 44-40.
Oh, look, a great game. And, look, you're never really pleased with a loss in a final, but to be able to play the standard that they did and to be able to give it absolutely everything they had was just fantastic. And look, they were up against Keely Bruce was in defence for Central Eyre United, and Abby Bruce in goals. They are so tall and so strong, and probably, two really tall players, strong players, and you sort of have to try and work around that. And like Trace said, her goalies do work really hard, and they were pretty accurate for the day, but in the end, it's just a little bit. And through the centre court, Central Eyre United, just enough experience to steady when they needed to and take complete control of the game right at the time when Lila and a couple of the Cowgirls just got a little bit rattled.
Yeah. Okay. So that leads us to tomorrow, and we have a look at the second semi-final or the qualifying final, whatever you want to call it, the winner through to the grand final. That's what you need to know about this round of matches. Matches at Arno Bay, and there's going to be some interesting games amongst them. Let's start with the Littlands. E2, it's Kimber and Central Eyre United.
Yes. Now, this is really quite interesting because Central Eyre United, they at first weren't really sure what they were and weren't going to be able to field. Kimber always had pretty good numbers in the juniors. So it was, and Central Eyre United ended up in the finals and have actually really improved throughout the season. So this could be a really interesting game.
It could be. And I must apologise to little E2s from Ports. I missed their result. They won 23-6 over the Eastern Rangers last week. So their season continues. The Littlands, good luck to the little Port girls.
Yep.
Other matches. So we move to E grade. Kimber District, Central Eyre United again. Should be an interesting clash.
Yeah. Don't know a lot about this grade, Chase, because I haven't seen a lot of these girls, but I do know that the Central Eyre United girls have played in a couple of carnivals and have done pretty well. So, and Kimber are always strong. They're always strong in these grades. So,
Kimber were undefeated in this grade in the minor round. Central Eyre United 7 wins, 4 losses. So Kimber start unbackable favourites. Yeah. D grade, Central Eyre United again in action here in the juniors. They're taking on the Eastern Rangers in the D grade, and the Rangers it was top of the ladder, but not by much. 6 wins, 2 losses against 5 wins, 3 losses for the year. So not a lot between these two.
No, and interestingly, that in that grade, the whole top 4 beat each other throughout the season. So there was actually no real dominance by any of the sides. So this is a open bag, I would suggest, Chase.
Yeah. And can I just mention while we're talking about the D grade, I didn't mention this when we had the results up before, but Ports had their first win of the season. There's only 4 teams in this comp. And they had their first win of the season against Kimber and knocked them out. So good timing to pick up your first win of the year.
Absolutely. Could not happen at a better time.
Yeah. We move to the seniors. C3, Eastern Rangers taking on Kimber Districts. Here's the old rivalry, but in a different grade than we're used to seeing it. This should be interesting, given that I think it was an undefeated Eastern Rangers through the minor round.
Absolutely. And talk about some knowledge and some talent in that C3 side. Like, I think you have like the likes of Mandy Symes, Cumbervale, some like girls who have played in X number of finals from both teams. So it really is a little bit of I won't call it a master's game exactly, but certainly some old rivalries will be rekindled, I would suggest, in this game. But I really reckon Eastern Rangers will have the money.
Central Eyre United in the C2s take on the Eastern Rangers, and between these two at the end of the minor round, they were tied on points. There was 1.5% between them.
Absolutely. This has been really tight all year, and look, you just don't ever write off either of these sides come finals. And I think that Central Eyre United probably have not necessarily had the opportunity to play together as much as what the Rangers girls have. So, but yeah, it could be very, very interesting because, like you said, so close all year.
Eastern Rangers again in the C grade. They're represented in every one of the senior grades, by the way. Central Eyre finished top in C grade. They'll take on the Eastern Rangers at Arno Bay and should win.
Yeah, they should win. They certainly should win. Yes, they have been very strong all year in this grade, and I would suggest that they would not be very happy if they didn't walk away with quite a good win.
Yeah. In the B grade, it's Kimber District's Eastern Rangers, and Kimber finished on top of the ladder in this grade by 1 point. Not a lot separating the two. The old rivalry here, Kimber and the Eastern Rangers, and it'll be on again. I think Kimber might win this one.
I think that Kimber will win this one, and I think you're right about the rivalry. There is no question about that. So they certainly will not be going into this game taking it easy at all. They will certainly know that Eastern Rangers will throw absolutely everything at them, as they do in all final series. But on paper, you would really think that Kimber should come out on top in this game.
Yeah. And in the A-grade clash, again, it is Kimber Districts, who are minor premiers, taking on Eastern Rangers. Centrally United sitting back watching, licking their lips to try and pick the bones of the loser. But I tell you what, nobody wants to be playing in a preliminary final when these two play each other on second semi-final day. And I think Kimber Districts are just going to be a little bit too good.
Oh, I absolutely agree with that. I just think that Kimber have been able to play with their same team the whole season. They've had the picking up of young Geordie McCullum, although I do know she hasn't been all that well this week, but she has just been a revelation through the centre court for Kimber, and throw her in with Saran Shipard, two of the best centre quarters going around on the peninsula at the moment, I would suggest, and certainly will be feeding the goalies really well. Young Lucy Klingberg, it will be her first A-grade final, but look, she was so strong and got picked in the Eyre Academy Div 1 team on Sunday. Jess Clements, as I well know, you never count her out in the grand final because she can shoot them from everywhere to make sure that they get a win. So, look, I just think, and on Eastern Rangers, again, had to try and put together a bit of a different look side halfway through the season, and I don't know that they've necessarily got it sorted just yet. So I think Kimber for sure.
Yeah. Should be a fascinating first foray into the finals in Great Flinders, but another finals round in Eastern Eyre Netball. Looking forward to it, Joe. Anything else before we wrap up?
It is the Eastern Rangers Times medal? No, Tribune.
Yep.
Is it the Tribune?
Tribune medal, yep.
So it is their best and fairest count, Eastern Eyre count on Sunday. So, and it's at Woodner in their big shed up there, yep, on their showground. So, they're on. It's bound to be a crazy, crazy day. Unfortunately, I can't get up there because it's also the Port Lincoln Netball Association Junior Presentation Countdown here. But always a fantastic, fantastic day. And lots of fun and frivolity. So, I'm sure they're all looking forward to that. And I reckon that my money in the A grade would be on Geordie McCullum to win that medal, I reckon. We'll see how right we are this time next week, Jason. Also, semi-finals down here in Port Lincoln. They start tomorrow. So we have Waybacks taking on Wanilla in the second semi-final. Waybacks ended up finishing top for, I think, the 6th year in a row now, Judge. And then Boston's are playing Imperials in the first semi. So, and lots of other finals with all the juniors throughout the day. So, the Times medal count tomorrow night. So that will be interesting. There will be a few interesting ones there. Emily Yanzik, maybe from Wanilla, Brooke George, Ilka Stone, again, have had good seasons. And Ellie Grant from Boston's has also had a really good season. So that could be a very interesting count as well.
Excellent. Well, we'll talk more about all of those counts next week. Until then, enjoy the weekend of netball, Joe.
Yep, and you have a great weekend as well.